I love Chainsaw Man. I've been a huge fan of this series ever since the anime's first season came out. I binged all of part 1 shortly after finishing the anime. By the next day, I had caught up to part 2. It had such a unique and emotional way of conveying its messages, and its characters resonated with me deeply. So, knowing this, please understand why I'm so passionate when I say, this ending fucking sucks! For me, the main themes of Chainsaw Man always involved tragedy and the different ways characters cope with it. I relate to them now more than ever, especially after the travesty of a finale Fujimoto has dubbed a conclusion. I did not like this ending in the slightest, and I'm not sure how to cope with it. There are so many flaws, I don't know where to start. It's genuinely unreal. Let's get this out of the way now. While I didn't enjoy Fujimoto's direction at all, for these last few chapters, it's really deplorable to harass or threaten creators just because you didn't like their shitty ending. In no way do I advocate for that horrible behavior. That being said, Fujimoto, what are you cooking? You burnt the fucking food. You took all the ingredients you spent years prepping, you threw that shit in a bowl, and you burnt it. It's no longer organic material, let alone edible. I genuinely cannot fathom fumbling a series this bad. We know Fujimoto can write narratively satisfying, good endings. So what happened? Why is this series ending on such a flat note? What was the cause for this rush job of a finale? Well, it can be traced back to different points in part 2, but if you ask me, I began to notice a dip in writing quality during the Yoru vs Goatchita fight. First off, the pacing felt wrong, stopping and starting at random points in the fight, setting up large spectacles and set pieces that never actually paid off in the following chapters. It was a cycle of hype and aura moments, disguised as character progression. It got really old real fucking fast. It's like, whoa, Yoru's gonna turn an entire US state into a weapon? I wonder what kind of terrible consequences this will have, and how this will impact Asa, or the battle against Chainsaw Man. I bet the weapon will look so cool. Needless to say, it was incredibly disappointing. Now imagine this cycle happening every other week. The absolute worst offenders of this are the Denji Man transformation and Denji's heart-to-heart with Asa. Both should be huge narrative steps forward for Denji's growth as a person. They are treated as climactic moments, with double spreads and detailed art with cool dialogue. But by the end, everything rings hollow. Denji Man performs even worse against Yoru than Goatchita, and Asa never speaks to Denji again. His resolve to make a new world for the both of them to live in is non-existent by the end of the manga. Asa doesn't even get to finish her arc, for God's sake. She just gets sidelined like she isn't the best thing to happen to the series since Makima. I just cannot believe how poorly this series was handled. It generated so much week-to-week hype just to shit the bed when it finally had to deliver. This leads into my ultimate cope. This segment of the series was not written by Fujimoto. I've come to this conclusion for a multitude of reasons. For example, Yoru vs Goatchita has the exact same problems as JJK's Sukuna Raid. It has the shitty pacing, the constant pointless aura farming, and the plot baiting. It even copies the ass-pull ending that comes out of nowhere, except even worse somehow! Bro, how does your MC get off-screened by an unnamed random? Denji got diffed so bad he woke up in fucking hell! Not to mention the fact that Chainsaw Man rushed its ending even faster than JJK did, all to reach the exact same Mickey Mouse ass bullshit ending JJK fans joked about. I'm not kidding when I say that Chainsaw Man has the same type of ending as the fucking JJK fan parody. Everybody comes back and lives happily ever after. What's insane is the fact that the parody's ending is actually well written in comparison. Everyone reviving fits the comedic tone of the parody and is perfectly understandable within that universe's rules. Sukuna's bullshit binding vows. I refuse to believe Fujimoto wrote this bullshit. My goat cannot be washed. It was Gege. Gege Kenjaku'd Fujimoto's body in order to ruin the series as well. The JJK fans, they put a curse on my manga. I swear it's true. I'm not crazy, Oh my god. Oh my god, I think I'm going insane. Okay. Gotta reel this shit back in just a little bit. I already know what people are gonna say about a lot of my incoming critiques. That I needed to temper my expectations or some bullshit like that. If I wasn't supposed to expect something amazing, why did Fujimoto fight so hard to end every chapter with a big moment or cliffhanger? It's honestly disrespectful to make it seem like I shouldn't be expecting something cool, especially when he's been edging me for the past 20 chapters. If the ending only had a few little flaws, like Yoru learning to value teamwork, as if she and her sister didn't jump the shit out of Goatchita, or that she claimed Goatchita ate her comrades, I wouldn't be this frustrated. But completely regressing Denji's character not even 10 chapters after what should be his narrative climax is unforgivable. To be clear, the problem isn't that Denji wants to have sex, it's the fact that he wants to have sex with Yoru, the devil he promised to kill in order to save Asa, the only person left who truly cares about him. Not to mention the fact that Yoru has repeatedly manipulated and sexually assaulted Denji to the point where even he acknowledges how messed up it made him. I understand why Denji relapses back to his lust, even after all the suffering he's been through because of it. It's a great depiction of addiction, and it shows the mark Makima left on him even after her death. Honestly, I'd be confused if he didn't relapse sometimes. Character progression shouldn't always be linear, because it isn't in real life. Denji regressing and struggling to change is a sign of good, realistic writing. But it just doesn't make sense to make him suffer so badly, and never grow despite the multiple signs showing that is what he wants. Denji knows he's being taken advantage of, and it hurts him every time. Past a certain point, his abuse feels derivative, especially when Fujimoto doesn't give him a second to heal before he's hurt yet again. We know that Denji has enough mental fortitude to change if he needs to. Even in part 1, despite losing everything because of Makima, he still has the basic drive to want a better life. He has the capacity to change, to choose what he wants for himself. That's literally the entire climax of his fight against Makima. Asa could have been the person to help him outgrow his base urges, but she got basically replaced by Yoru for most of the ending chapters. And Denji never rejects Yoru's control like he did with Makima, despite Yoru being far more malicious than Makima ever was. It's like Denji has been completely lobotomized and robbed of agency. He doesn't even get to choose whether or not Goatchita should erase himself, it just happens. I would be entirely convinced that Denji couldn't progress past his lust if he didn't already do that way back in part 1. Denji accepting a proactive role with his powers and inviting Asa to live in the world he creates should be a huge turning point for his character. But it isn't, and it feels like a complete waste of time. I'm not sure how Fujimoto managed to pump fake character development, yet here we are. Worse yet, they retcon Goatchita's erasure ability to affect causality and undo any effects they erased concept had on the world. But we know that this isn't true when the ear devil is erased. The invention of telephones wasn't erased alongside it, so it didn't undo the impact that having ears had on our society. Goatchita's ability never works like that. Fujimoto retconned a pivotal plot point of the series to have a fucking Disney ending. And about that final chapter itself, it's truly horrible. I've witnessed the release of unfettered slop to the public, and I'm supposed to be satisfied? To cheer? I understand the sentiment of wanting a happy ending. I want Denji and Asa to be happy just as much as anyone else. But seriously? Everybody comes back, but only in a way that is convenient for Denji? Mind you, they killed my favorite character for this bullshit. Why would Power be free from the Control Devil, and also in the area where Denji gets sacrificed to the Zombie Devil? Why would she like Denji enough to make a contract with him? He's just another source of blood to her at this point. She legitimately has no in-reason character to let him live, let alone become best friends with him because of the way he fucking smells. And why would giving him blood heal him? I thought he was still a normal human kid. Speaking of that, how did Denji even survive that long hunting off devils without Goatchita? None of this makes any fucking sense. How am I supposed to find this cathartic? This reads like wish fulfillment fanfiction slop people make as a joke. Worse yet, why on God's green earth would Naruto to replace Makima? Makima existed way before Denji became Chainsaw Man. She's old enough to remember concepts Goatchita erased, including World War II. Sure, she wouldn't be as obsessive due to Chainsaw Man not existing, but she would still exist as an entity. A better question would be, why did public safety let Nayuta, a literal middle schooler, run her own division? If I suspended my disbelief anymore, it would die via hanging. Why the fuck do chainsaws exist? That just makes it even more confusing. Okay. For a long time now, there's been incredibly popular fan theory that Goatchita isn't actually a representation of the fear of chainsaws, rather something else entirely. They mostly stem from Goatchita's insane powers and his ability to erase other concepts from existence. It just wouldn't make sense for a chainsaw to be that strong, let alone having its own unique ability. There are many variations of this theory. Some believed Goatchita was the Consumption Devil, the Birth Devil, or my personal favorite, the Extinction Devil. There was a bunch of theorizing and clever conclusions, but for the longest time we couldn't know for sure why Goatchita was so damn strong. Chainsaws aren't scary enough to overpower 4 horsemen and every weapon devil at once. But little did we know, the series gave us multiple clues as to why Vegeta was so powerful, but they only started to add up during an arc late into part 2. Near the end of part 1, Makima alludes to Vegeta erasing a bunch of concepts that don't even exist in our world, including 4 possible outcomes for every living thing at the end of their lifespans, instead of death. In part 2, during a fight with the aging devil, Denji and Yoru are sent to a world where devil powers don't work and it's impossible to die. It's revealed that once humans live past 1,000 years, they'd naturally turn into trees. This plot point, when combined with Makima's statement about alternate endings instead of death, yields a strong theory as to why Vegeta is so powerful. Humans used to become trees instead of dying, and chainsaws would be very, very efficient in cutting them down. While humans can't become trees anymore, they still hold a subconscious fear for chainsaws in their brains. That would explain why Vegeta is so extremely powerful without having to change his identity from the Chainsaw Devil. It still wouldn't explain his erasure ability, but it was a solid explanation for his strength. It seemed like a soft explanation Fujimoto gave us, and it was pretty cool despite the minor plot hole. You might be asking why I went on a yap session about random Vegeta theories. It's because showing both Denji and Power being aware of a chainsaw categorically dismantles the previous theory, and it completely reopens the idea that Goatchita is not actually a Chainsaw Devil, and it makes his sacrifice even more confusing. The worst part is, we'll never actually know what concept he embodied, or how it would affect the world if it was erased. Shouldn't this world be vastly different, if not completely fucked? I mean, who is supposed to keep the dangerous devils like the Horsemen in check? Put this idea on pause, I'll return to it shortly. Another issue with continuity is Asa and her canon event. Why would Bucky even be in the school? All of this stuff happens after Denji already beat Makima. There is at least a year between Bucky being introduced into Asa's class and Denji working in public safety. It's an even bigger stretch than Power saving Denji from the zombie devil. But you know what? Fine! Kill all forms of continuity and retcon everything! I don't care! It seems like Fujimoto just wanted a happy ending, but didn't know how to get there without erasing Goatchita. Lazy as fuck writing, but hey, it is his series at the end of the day. But tell me, Fujimoto, what the fuck does this panel mean? What am I supposed to interpret from this?
Say that again?
As seen, bro, what? Genuinely, what is this supposed to signify? Denji is partially aware of his life as Chainsaw Man? If Goatchita's self-erasure was consistent with the rest of the series, he wouldn't even be reset. So how could he possibly resonate with the name Chainsaw Man? Or the even worse possibility, Goatchita is still somehow his heart, despite erasing himself. And everyone lived happily ever after. Ass ending, bro. Oh my god, this shit's so ass! This shit fucking sucks, man. I'm sorry. I seriously don't understand how people can delude themselves into thinking that this was a well-written ending. Enjoy what you want, but goddamn, just because you like it doesn't make it good. We don't even get to see the other characters from part 1. Fujimoto doesn't even have the decency to show us Aki. If we're gonna get a Disney-fied fanfic bullshit ending to this series, the least you could do is show us the most popular character aside from Makima. Don't even think about Reze, Kobeni, or Beam. Who the fuck are those guys? But no, you can't even do a fan service ending correctly, holy shit. Even JJK, as much as I hate that ending, had a better sense of closure than this. This ending feels like a complete waste of time. I invested my time, money, and emotions into this world, into these characters. And in response, Fujimoto just shits in my face. I'm done, I'm so fucking done. If I wanted to read slop, I'd open up any bog standard shonen. I thought Chainsaw Man was above that. And for a time, it was. I don't understand how the person who wrote Chainsaw Man Part 1, which in my opinion is peak shonen, can write something as lackluster as this. I'd say I'm disappointed beyond words, but that clearly isn't true. But you know what? Maybe I'm just a stupid idiot, and maybe I don't understand my favorite series. I just can't keep up with Fujimoto's themes and such. There isn't much left I can say at this point. Hope for a part 3? As if it would matter. The series is already over and it'll forever be stuck with this terrible ending. At the end of the day, this is my only way to cope with how much time I invested in getting into this series. I'm just jealous that other people can enjoy this because I sure can't. Because to me, Chainsaw Man's second part never existed. Don't look me like a beautiful star. 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 Da 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 da. No Japanese. Da 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 da.